Tonight on the Evening Twist, many of you may or may have not seen her on our Facebook page or watched her on the story on MUTV. And tonight, she's here. Sadie, the dog with a truly inspirational story, joins us.
And we're sticking with animals. The Wisconsin Humane Society will talk with us. Plus, a Milwaukee landmark many of us have seen, a representative from the Domes, also on our show tonight.
That and more. The Evening Twist starts right now.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Lisa Mihelich.
And I'm Max Hess. In tonight's News Talk, the first thing we want to talk about is some big changes in the student media recently, right,
Yep.
Lisa?
Yep.
So we're looking at some major changes in terms of how we're staffing it. There's been some talk about cuts for the Marquette Tribune in terms of how big their paper is actually going to be, and then also some convergence in terms of in collaboration of the departments and especially the heads that they're going to have. So what exactly have you found out about this?
Well, you know, I think it all comes down to better organization. I think it sounds like there's going to be a head for news, for MUTV, but also for journalism, for the Tribune, for all the news departments. There's going to be one person, and that goes for all the other departments too, like entertainment and all that. So really, it's getting different angles on things.
And we, you know, ever since we started in this department and kind of done our work here, every day we hear, you know, work with the other departments, work with the Tribune, work with radio.
Convergence is huge.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, and now with next year's new policy, do you think they're maybe trying to make that a little easier?
Yeah, I do. Like I said, the organization and the different angles, I think, you know, everyone kind of working together and talking about it, they'll be getting a bigger variety in how they tackle this, that, and the other thing going on either on campus or in Milwaukee in general.
Yeah, so it will definitely be interesting to see what they do with our student media next year.
For sure.
One thing we also want to talk about is something that has really, you know, been a big part in our news, not just in Milwaukee, but everywhere in the United States, is Lance Armstrong. And we thought it all kind of would start to die down, but it didn't.
Well, he admitted to using enhancing drugs, and he, you know, he had an interview on Oprah not too long ago in January, and he didn't really answer a lot of questions. He wasn't really sorry about it. He kind of brushed over a few things, and now he refuses to work with the United States Anti-Doping Association.
Yeah, and we read that the reason he's, you know, the reason he doesn't want to do that anymore is because he's scared that he's going to be facing some criminal liability charges for actually agreeing to work with them, even though everybody knows that he was found guilty for using that.
It's no secret anymore.
Definitely interesting that he doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And you know, for me, it was definitely something that concerned me because for weeks and weeks and almost years, we had everybody watching, you know, having the Live Strong bracelets, and everybody looked up to.
I have one.
You have one?
I do.
I never did, but it was something that, you know, we saw everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's shocking.
It is.
It is that, you know, something like that.
Yeah, even as simple as people getting the bracelet.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows what that was, everyone knows what it means. Everyone pretty much had one, so.
Well, I still think it's shocking. Now,
it is.
One other thing we want to talk about.
The dean, getting a new dean for arts and sciences.
Yes.
Finally, it was a long time coming.
Absolutely.
They did interviews, you know, this past semester before, and finally they found someone, and he sounds like a great candidate for it.
And I do have the email right here. Father Pilar sent out an email yesterday to students saying that Dr. Richard Holtz is his name, from the Loyola University in Chicago, had been named as the new dean.
Yes, finally.
I know, right? So we can definitely look forward to some changes with the College of Arts and Sciences. But today's show, we have some great guests coming on. It's definitely going to stay animal themed.
Yes.
And like we had mentioned, for those of you who saw our story we had on Facebook, also on our MUTV, about a dog named Sadie who was shot in the head and miraculously survived.
Yes.
And was something that I was lucky enough to do a story on and was very inspirational.
Very friendly dog,
We also have
too.
someone from the Wisconsin Humane Society, you know, definitely also animal themed. And then also
a little bit of plant life in there.
I know.
The domes.
And one of the things, you know, when I always think domes, I have this mental picture of me standing in a top floor in McCormick and seeing the domes from far away. So we're definitely looking forward to that. So we'll be right back after the break with some great guests. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Evening Twist. We are now joined by Sandy Folarone, who is the director of the Milwaukee Domes. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you
for
having me.
I was talking just in the segment before that when I think of the Milwaukee Domes, I have this mental picture of me sitting on a top floor in McCormick Hall, looking across the valley there and seeing these 3 dots on the top. So tell us, you know, it's definitely some interesting architecture. It's definitely something that catches your eye, but not necessarily everybody knows what it is, correct?
Everybody knows that it's the domes. Not everybody knows it's actually a horticultural conservatory. It's a Milwaukee icon because it's so, just the structure by the nature of being one of a kind is iconic. So not one person can't say, I don't know where the domes are. Everybody knows where the domes are. They don't always go there on a regular basis, but they know where the domes are.
So tell us, there's 3 atmospheres, right? And can you tell us a little bit about each one?
Absolutely. We have 3 domes, 3 separate conservatories. One is the show dome. That showcases 5 different seasonal shows throughout the year. Train show, the spring, the summer, the fall, and the holiday show. So 5 times we pull everything out, we redo it with new props, new themes, so that's an ever-changing dome. The other dome is the desert dome, and we have the tropical dome, which is really a tropical rainforest, which is great this time of year to visit. But that is the horticultural side of that business. We are part of Milwaukee County Parks Department, so we're part of a larger entity as well, and a lot of the things we do, although it's all about the plants, we do a lot of special events that cross all these different demographic lines, especially the Music Under Glass concert series.
And I happened to hit that when I went there, and it was really cool. Lots of setup, I'd imagine, you know, and it was cool. They would just play like songs, and the little lights would just kind of dance to it, and it was nighttime out, so it really showed up. It looked awesome. It's
a whole different experience to go there at night, and we only do it during the winter on Thursday nights. Every Thursday night, and this is through March 14th from 6:30 to 9, we have live concert music.
Oh, wow.
They're local bands. We have bar service, we have food. It's kind of a date night. I knew that. Okay, write us down. We're in there. But it's kind of experiencing the conservatory in a different way. And the light shows that you're talking about, this is kind of brand new for us. Due to some philanthropy money and some really good sponsorships, we were able to underwrite a whole lighting up of the domes at night, which you can see from the expressway, the halos.
Yeah, exactly.
The domes were built in the 60s, so for them to be reinvented and all of the wonderful things that are going on, this has really kind of been a rebirth the last 5 years for the facility.
Okay, so how did you become director? Can you tell us, like, you don't know. How long have you been director?
I've been there for 6 years.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I don't have a horticultural background, honestly enough. I'm probably the first director there that didn't come with that kind of background. I was hired because of my business forte and because that was the nature of what I did for the first 30 years of my career. So the parks director kind of brought me there to see if I could help kickstart the domes and kind of reinvent them. And this Music Under Glass, the new lights, our ethnic festivals, we have a holistic health fair, all of these are efforts to bring a different kind of, well, newer, younger generation to the domes to experience it maybe in a different way.
Well, and you know, what's interesting is you say you don't have a background in this, but you still talk about it as if you're very proud of it. So what do you love your job?
I love the domes, and everyone will say that. I love the domes. Usually that's the first thing people say to me. I love the domes. I just haven't been there in 50 years, or I haven't been there in 10 years, or I came as a child. So my goal, and part of what my mission is to make people see it back on the radar, whether it's for a concert, whether it's for a festival. You know, it's just to get it back on the radar for people to experience it in a different way.
And why should a Marquette student go to the domes?
Oh, that's a good. Oh, how much time do we have? There's so, and talking about, you know, the wonderful collection of plants there. To see plants, you know, we call it a cheap vacation if you can't afford to go to Costa Rica or Mexico.
And that's how I felt when I went there. I was like, where am I? A totally totally environment. It was
$5,
awesome.
You're taking a vacation in Costa Rica in that tropical rainforest. You can see the waterfall, smell the earth. It's just a real sensory trip. So that's one reason. Certainly the music is another reason. Certainly the ethnic festivals, the holistic health fair, which is very unusual. We have orchid shows. We have bonsai. So countyparks.com, rather than me spend a half hour telling you, countyparks.com. That's a website for Milwaukee County, and that will list all the bands, when they're playing. It lists all the special events that happen throughout the year. It's a good way to connect with the facility and come on down when something interests you. $5 student rate,
Yeah.
too.
Well,
It's pretty
Thank
good.
you so much for coming in today. We really appreciate it. And
Milwaukee
we will
bucket
definitely
list.
pass on
Write
the
that
message
down.
for students to
Yes.
come. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
My
much.
pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
And go ahead. That's all
Coming
you.
up next, we have a representative from the Wisconsin Humane Society. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Evening Twist. We're here with Jill DeGray from the Wisconsin Humane Society. Thanks for joining us, Jill.
Thanks for having me.
So can you tell us what exactly is your position at the Wisconsin Humane Society?
I've been in education with the Wisconsin Humane Society for many years, educating primarily youth, doing community programming, that kind of thing.
So how, when you say educating, how can someone imagine that? What does an education with the Wisconsin Humane Society look like?
It's all about humane education. As an organization, our mission is to create a community that values animals and treats them with respect and kindness, and all of our programs really support that mission. And humane education is really a cornerstone of what we do, because teaching kids when they're young about animals, promoting kindness, character education. We believe that kind kids grow into kind adults.
Yes.
And if you can prevent a lot of animal abuse takes place with individuals who abused animals as children.
And that, and that's something that is really interesting that you bring up, especially in today's show, because I'm sure you met Sadie, who's one of our
I sure
dogs,
did.
and,
Beautiful dog.
yeah, and we'll get to that later in the show, but she's definitely someone who was a victim of animal abuse.
Exactly, and there's a correlation between animal abuse and other human violence. So it's very important that we educate our youth about animals and kindness.
Well, I know there's a lot of volunteering that can take place at the Wisconsin Humane Society. Can you tell us, how can a Marquette student get involved?
We have got so many opportunities for volunteering. Everything from actual working with animals, cat socializing, dog walking, to working in our retail store. We've got Animal Antics, which has all the different products for your companion animal. We've got areas in our wildlife department. We serve 5,000 wild animals, injured, orphaned. Animals every single year. We need, our baby birds, for example, need to be fed every 20 minutes.
Wow.
And so we've got so many opportunities to work with animals.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, it's very close to campus. It's right up Wisconsin
It
Avenue,
is,
correct?
45th in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Wisconsin Humane Society actually has 3 campuses, one in Saukville, the shelter Milwaukee campus on 45th in Wisconsin, and we recently acquired Countryside Humane Society in Racine, so that's our Racine campus.
Okay.
So that's like a little more than 20 blocks away from
Yeah.
here.
It is. I mean, it's very close.
Yeah.
It's not. So, I mean, I don't know. I would love to, do something more with it. I mean, I have a big heart for animals.
I do
and,
too.
my dog is back home with my parents, but I miss it, and so maybe that's a way to.
Yeah.
It's a way, if you
Get
can't
more involved.
actually have a companion animal in your home, it's nice to volunteer. You get that animal interaction.
Out at Marquette, we can't have pets, so we need to come by and work with them with you
we
guys.
can have fish.
Fish, okay.
You can have a fish in, in your residence hall.
I'm
That's
all about the therapy dogs and like feeling better with, just like taking them for a walk and getting some fresh air.
Oh, it does. I mean, there's no question the joy that animals bring into our lives. And that's why Wisconsin Humane Society last year adopted over 9,000 animals.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Into loving homes.
Wow.
So
That's great.
People appreciate animals.
Well, how does that process work? I mean, can you just literally go into the Humane Society one day and say, oh, this is a great dog, and then you just take it home, or is it a bigger process?
Well, first we want you to think about what would fit into your family. Is it a cat? Is it a dog? Maybe a small animal like a guinea pig or a rabbit. And then you come down to the shelter and work with an adoption counselor, and they help guide you toward a really good match for you and your family. We have a wonderful website which literally updates animals available for adoption. Like as soon as an animal is adopted and another animal moves into that suite, it appears on the website. So you can check the website. You see something that really interests you, come on down.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a pretty easy process.
Yeah, sounds like you guys make it very convenient for everyone.
We're all about happy endings and saving lives.
Oh,
so
love it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will definitely pass on the message to our viewers to, really get involved with the Wisconsin Humane Society. And I think it's definitely a great opportunity for students to get involved in too. So
it really is. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And when we return, we will have Sadie on the show, which is who we've been talking about the whole time. So stay tuned. And we are now joined by Sadie and Joelle and also Jessica Dragan, who has also helped a lot with the story behind Sadie. So a lot of our viewers have definitely seen the story about Sadie online. So kind of revamp that. What exactly has Sadie been going through, and what is her story?
Well, Sadie's got a huge story, actually. At the end of April of last year, what happened, Max, was that I was just donating some pillows and blankets to an animal shelter, and corner of my eye, there was Sadie, and I didn't need another dog. I've got dogs, cats, whatever, and she was there. And I said, oh, that's such a cute dog. What's her story? And they said that Sadie had just been brought in from Kentucky, where someone had found her in the mountains. And she had just had a litter of puppies, so she got shot right between the eyes and in the back and paralyzed. And I don't know why. I usually think these things out, but I just didn't. I just grabbed her and took her to some doctors who gave her actually a very grim prognosis. But then I took her to an animal doctor in Muskego, Wisconsin, and she said, Dr. Jody over there said, let's give her a chance. And so we have. And all this time, Sadie's been receiving intensive therapy. We got the bullet removed from between her eyes on June 4th. And she has received so much therapy in order to get her to walk again. Mm-hmm. She receives acupuncture, aquapuncture, all different things. And Jessica's been her absolute lifesaver because she has been massaging therapy to get all the blood flow going through her and everything like that.
Well, talk about that a little bit, is this massage therapy. I didn't even know something like that exists for dogs, and apparently it's been very helpful. So what exactly does that job entail as a massage therapist for dogs? And Sadie's definitely a special case, right?
Absolutely. Well, animals have all the same muscles and bones that we do, with the exception of the tail. So I did go to human massage school first and really perfected that, got all the feedback and everything, and went to school for pet massage. And all I really had to do was do what I was doing for humans, but put it in their form. I saw that animals have hip dysplasia, arthritis. I didn't know that people were holding on to animals like that, but they are experiencing all the pains that we are. Mm-hmm. They just can't say it. They're not behind you saying, give me a massage, so that's why most people don't know it exists. Sadie, she overcompensates with her front legs by
understandably
being paralyzed. So I'm brought in to prevent further injury because she's working so hard on those front legs that they're sore also. Yeah. And because she's not in her normal state and form for her body for a dog, her stomach is kind of curling in a little bit. So what happens with muscles is they shrink over time and they get into the form that you always are in. So I'm always straightening out the stomach muscles for her. In addition to that, she's got some atrophy in the hind legs and want to keep that as much muscle there as possible.
Now, one thing that I thought when I went and shot this story, one thing that really just kind of hit me and was what I thought was so surprising is that she's so happy. Yeah. You think if something like this happens to you, you get shot in the face, you'd think you would never trust a human being again, but she's so happy and she, walks like a champ, and I thought that was so inspirational.
And she's not even showing her personality here. In fact, in the green room, she was sleeping. I think she had a lot of therapy yesterday, and she's just kind of pooped out. But she is just the happiest thing. Her tail's always going, and she truly has had a second chance at life.
And you talked about that as the fact that you think she knows that.
She does know that because she takes a half an hour savoring every meal. I mean, find a dog that does that.
Yeah,
it's virtually impossible.
Mine's like 20 seconds, it's gone.
And she just looks at everybody out there in the car. She wants to see every movement that's going on, people on bicycles. So she really is sucking in every moment of her life.
Well, and having a dog like Sadie is not necessarily the easiest thing, right? I would assume.
It is not exactly the easiest thing. I would say that because she received such intensive therapy. In fact, I have been counting now on the calendar because I've been doing so much running besides working full time. Sometimes during the week she has 11 appointments per week. And what I'm trying to do is, someone may think that's excessive, but what I'm actually doing is, she has a window of opportunity here to regrow her nerves and muscles, and once she loses that opportunity, then it's going to be a little bit more dismal. So I'm trying to catch that, okay, and get those nerves regrown.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in tonight, guys. We really appreciate it. And Sadie has definitely grown close to our heart here at MUTV. Everybody loves her for seeing that story, and we wish you the best of luck for the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
much.
And now we're going to throw it over to Aaron Maybin, who has our Twitter sphere information. Aaron, what's the Twitter feed saying?
Thanks for that story, Max, and thanks for that. We have a lot for you today. We're going to start today with cake and diamonds. Rihanna, it's her birthday today, and she's turning 25. She tweeted today, "Epic day already. I woke up to sunshine in paradise and stayed on jump 54 spots to number 3 on the Billboard charts. You go, Rihanna." Also, Katy Perry, to end all rumors that they have a feud, tweeted at her happy birthday. Now let's switch it over to the Humane Society. There is breaking news there. Kesha Sucks to be honored at this year's Genesis Awards Benefit Gala. There's definitely going to be glitter. Good job, Kesha. And she's got that for her awareness. Now let's move it to the Wisconsin Humane Society. Only 8 days left to enter your photo in our wildlife photo contest. Learn more at this website right here. And now let's twist it over to another birthday. Kurt Cobain would have turned 26 today. Music tweeted at him today. He said, "Happy birthday, Kurt Cobain. Your legacy will live on forever as you are an icon in this music industry. Thank you for your music." And finally, we're going to twist worldwide to South Africa with the Oscar Pistorius story. I believe he is South Africa's O.J. Simpson. Well, Max Mackay said, "Interesting day in the Pistorius case. Seems clear it was an accident to me. Tragedy, but hopefully comfort to the family that there was no malice." Well, we're going to have some more Twitter for you guys, but first, we're going to have Max and Lisa in the show. You guys have a great day.
Well, thanks, Aaron, for your updates from social media. We always appreciate that.
We do.
Great show today. I think that stories like Sadie is definitely something that people need.
Inspirational.
Yeah, and it's definitely something people need to think a little bit more about because, dogs are human too in a way, and I think that people need to appreciate them more. And again, don't forget, if you do want to get involved, you can always, head up to 45th in Wisconsin, head out, and help them at the Humane Society. Like you heard, they're always looking for help, and that's something that I'm definitely going to look into. So.
I am too.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight for the Evening Twist, and make sure to be there in another 2 weeks when we're there with our next episode.
See you then.